Hey, everybody, welcome to Fuel for the Soul with John Giftah. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to today's broadcast where I'm not alone. Okay, I have a special guest with us, and it's none other than Khushi Jain. And she's an amazing person who's an happiness coach as well as an author who released a book just 2 days ago. And we're so excited to have her with us. So, thank you so much for joining us, Khushi.
Thank you so much, John. It's my pleasure.
So, before moving forward, a lot of people have this question on, why do we have to have a happiness coach? Why do we need to talk about happiness and things like that? And first of all, I just want to take this time for to introduce all of you to the aspect of happiness. We're living in a time when everywhere you look around, there's so much of reason for people to feel down and discouraged and upset and just, feel pity and depressed and talk about suicide and everything other than happiness is there. So I think this is a very good time and opportunity for us as it's in this place to make a difference and help people find happiness. And I'm glad that you're someone who's doing that. And also love the fact that you just released a new book on happiness. So we really need to maneuver and help people to find this in their life. And one of the first things I noticed about this is that happiness is a choice. That's what you mentioned in your book, and I truly believe that, because a lot of times these people think happiness is what happens in life, but it's not about what happens. You can be happy even in the worst situation that you're in. So tell us how you stepped into the area of happiness. What led you to say, okay, let me make an impact or a difference in this area? What made you
Yeah.
go into that field?
Mhm. Firstly, I'm really thankful to you for having me here.
Okay.
A warm welcome to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm a happypreneur. I call myself a happypreneur. I'm a happiness coach, and I'm on a mission to help 100,000 people live a very happy, fulfilled life with true meaning and contentment. The reason why
Wow.
I got into being a happiness coach is because I noticed that a lot of people, in spite of having a lot of success, name, fame, achievements, accomplishments, they weren't happy. They felt something was incomplete in their life. They felt they were not good enough in life. And that was one aspect which I noticed that a lot of people do miss in their lives. They're running around with their own, at their own pace in the regular rat race of, doing their jobs or taking care of the family. But at the end of the day, they feel they feel something's missing in their life. They feel not satisfied about their lives, and that is where I come into picture. And I want to help people find that spark in their life, that happiness in their life, that contentment in their life. That when they sleep in the night, they feel joy. They feel thankful for the day they had. And I'm so proud to be called a happiness coach today. And I especially work with a lot of women these days because what I notice is that women are really stressed balancing their work and their families. So I really love helping women. And it's not like I don't like men, but I'm more in more dedicated to working
Inclined.
with women these days, inclined to working with women. Having said that, when I started off my journey into coaching, John, I was at a very low point in my life. I was in deep despair and sorrow, and I didn't have anybody to seek help. I didn't have anybody to, share my feelings with, and my life was directionless. And I noticed that if I would go and tell my relatives or my friends or my family about my situation, they would be very judgmental about me, or they would spread rumors about me, or they would I wouldn't trust them enough. So I thought I could be of help to someone because I really empathize well with people. So I thought if I could reach out to people and if I could be a helping hand to them, I would be the catalyst, in their lives to have the happiness that they deserve, to find their true happiness. It would be great because when I wanted it, I didn't have it. So now I want to be a helping hand to people who really seek for happiness. So that is when I started my journey into happiness.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's the place where many of us need to start. Like, for example, in
Yeah.
my mission, one of my major mission is to help people get a platform. Okay,
Yeah.
because when I was in a place where I longed for platforms, I never got platforms. And today, that's
Mm,
one of the reasons I wanted to try this, because this is the first time my dream came true, to interview
mm,
someone, especially when they wrote a book. Because
mm.
my intention is, a couple of people, I know a couple of people, but the minute you get a platform, now you get a better approach to tell people, you know what, my book is available to more and more people whom you do not know. So
Definitely.
likewise, when you go through something, you have a better chance to talk about it to other people, and that's the one of the best things that you could
Mm,
do as well. So coming on to the next question, with all this going on in this world, and I already spoke about this, that it's depression is just a stone's throw away. I myself personally, someone who has gone through many cycles of depression and stuff like that, I can just tell you that it's so easy to get depressed, and happiness is something that you have to ensure that you try to get it. But here's the thing, sometimes people think, why do we need to talk about this? It's something that is inbuilt. Like if I say I'm depressed, people will only accuse me. They won't come and, like you said, they'll be judgmental. They won't come and say, okay, let me help you, or something like that. The reason is, people think these are things that you have to just cover up, like stuff like that. Now, for example, if there's a wound in my shirt, they just say, wear a full hand sleeve so that it just covers, but it's not
yeah,
going to heal the problem. And
exactly.
one of the important aspects what I noticed is this, if you are trying to play football, and just keep telling you, get better at it, practice more and stuff like that, you're not going to do that, because you need a coach to guide you on how to play the football. You need a
Definitely.
coach to tell you. So I think even for happiness, it is imperative that instead of having all this stigma and stuff like that, like, okay, this is something inbuilt, that I think we need to come up with more awareness that people can take help, and get the help of someone like you who's into
Definitely.
this, to get some suggestions on how you can take these tips and get better at what you're doing. So can you share some tips on how, for anybody, it will be helpful to like be happy and maneuver this season or any season in their life in a better fashion?
Definitely, I totally agree with you, John, because I was also depressed at one point of time, and as I said, that I didn't have anybody to reach out to. And when I found true happiness, even when I was at the lowest points in my life, I found the true happiness, and I could really be happy with with these practical steps that I took. And that is why I
Okay.
wrote the book. That is why I
Mm,
wanted to share my thoughts and my perspectives about happiness. That even if you're in despair, even if you're in deep sorrow, you can be happy from within. You can actually uh, choose to be happy each and every day if you wish to. And the book is all about that. We'll be talking about that later. But like you said,
mm,
like now, right now, we're in a time where, there are so many depressions. There are people who are really frustrated, they're angry, they're in sorrow, they're in despair. And practical steps would be that first it all begins with your mindset. Some people
yes.
subconsciously do not choose to be happy, I believe, because what I have noticed is that the subconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind, and the subconscious mind somewhere stops you from being happy. And the way it stops you is that you are ingrained from your childhood to play the blame game, to play the comparison game, to not feel good enough about yourself, to not actually overcome your fears, and to not believe in yourself. And these are a few causes why people actually do not want to be happy and do not choose to be happy. And having said that, I have true practical tools which I have used in my day to day life. And when I practice them, I could find true happiness. So the first thing starts with your mind. As I said, your mindset should be right. You should believe in yourself. You should trust yourself. And a lot of affirmations do work, especially for me. They worked wonders for me. And the next thing is taking care of your body, because what I believe is exercising and eating healthy food and taking care of your body, it boosts certain chemicals in your body, happy chemicals in your body. And it's all scientifically proved, Gifta. the thing is that happiness, the research says that 50% of your happiness is genetic, 10%
Mm,
of your happiness is circumstances, and 40% of your happiness is intentional activities which you do on a day-to-day basis. So if 40% is intentional activities, then we should choose it with our own intentions to being happy on a day-to-day basis, you know.
true.
So first thing, mindset, like I said. Then it's your body. Please take care of your body, because it does boost a lot of happy hormones in your body when you do a lot of exercise, when you do a lot of meditation, when you eat healthy food. And next, I would love to talk about self love. You know, self love practices. People these days do not find it important. Really, they don't find it important to give time to themselves, and it's a very, very, very sad situation, because it's very important to at least spend half an hour, on yourself, on thinking about what all you did, what all you learned from the day, what all, how you can concentrate on a few things about your talents. It could be hobbies, it could be any self love practice that you really like. You know, concentrating on that really boosts happiness. And I also have a lot of things written about how giving and contributing to the world can give a lot of happiness, like what you're doing, your purpose, to finding faith in God. That is something that is incredible that you're doing, and I'm sure you're finding your happiness in that, aren't you, Gifta?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
So it
That's
is,
true.
yeah, it's giving and contributing to the world. Even small acts of giving that you do on a day-to-day basis could definitely, you can find true happiness through that. And learning and investing in personal growth is another thing. A lot of people think that they are not important, they're not precious for themselves. But what I believe is each and every one of us should spend time on ourselves, on mindfulness, on being self aware about our surroundings, about ourselves, and about the people around us. And believe in yourself, and remember that happiness is truly, truly a choice, and anyone can achieve it if they truly believe in, these practices that I'm about to say. And having said that, practicing gratitude is one more thing that I really stress, because that has given me a lot of abundance in my life, and that has brought me true happiness. Practicing writing a journal, maintaining a journal has really helped me reflect on what mistakes I have made, learning from my mistakes, and reflecting, counting on my blessings, especially. That has given me a lot of confidence and a lot of abundance in my life. So I do practice gratitude, and today I'm really grateful I had you today interviewing me, and I'm really going to be grateful for this very, very, very special occasion for my interview with me. Thank you so much, Gupta.
Thank you so much. Yeah, like you said, happiness is a choice, but very few people tap in. One of the reasons I think is because everybody's happy that, as long as you have some reason to grumble or complain or be frustrated, you have an excuse to sit back and not do anything.
Yeah.
I think as if you're happy, you will be entitled to do something. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's I think there's a reason why many people choose not to be happy. They choose to say, let me dwell on my mistakes, let me dwell on
Yeah.
the shortcomings, let me
Exactly.
dwell on this, and give that as an excuse not to move forward. But like you said, all the tips that you shared are so important and imperative. I could just like say cheer you on that, because when you talk about self-love, I mean, it's very, very important. Like
Very
we live in
important.
a time when people think like, okay, that's being too bad, like why should you love yourself in the sense. But what is happening is, like you said, ever since I was small, I was always put down by people. So that made
Mhm.
me go low on my confidence, to the fact
Yeah.
that you know my identity was crashed, and everything had a big a shipwreck. But like you said, I used to daily stand in front of the mirror, and I used to keep declaring based on the word of God, and say,
Yeah.
I'm not who people say I am. I am who God says I am. I'm not a
Yes.
mistake. So when I kept on declaring those, to the fact that I went from a place where I was so hurt, and stuff like that, when people had put me down, to the fact that my first book happened to be on identity. You see the shift.
Lovely.
You see the So like you said, you went through so many things that made you go unhappy, but now you're talking about happiness. And
Yeah.
Ironically, it just I know this is out of topic, but I just remember your name is Khushi, which apparently means happiness, right?
Happiness. Yeah.
So, in which language is it?
It's in
Is it?
Hindi.
It's in
It's
Hindi.
in
Okay,
Hindi and in fact in Kannada also. They say
okay,
Khushi.
okay.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you are wondering what's your purpose in life, the first step you do is check the meaning of your name. So, the next thing I want to ask you is I did a little bit of research
Okay.
and I went on Amazon and I checked, okay, how many books are there on this topic of happiness? And I came across around 20,000 search results that popped up.
Okay.
So, that's a huge number. So, I'm
Okay.
sure you nor I have read all the 20,000 books, but
Yeah.
I think you can answer this. What is in your book which is specific to you, which is unique? Maybe some techniques or unique ideas or experiences, or what is it that I can find in your book which I've not found in anyone else's?
Okay. So that's a great question, Gifta. I have read a lot of books on happiness and I have done a lot of research on happiness. But what makes my book different is that started writing this book at the lowest points in my time. Okay. And
Okay,
after I did a lot of research and after I started practicing the practical steps that are there in my book, I could really be truly happy from within. And what I noticed is that I did not need any external validation or materialistic things or anything outside of me to make me happy. I had all the
true,
resources within me, and it was all within my control. And it was my responsibility and my power to unleash the true happiness that was within me.
true,
So that my book is all about uh, these practices that you can practice on a day to day, that you can inculcate on a day to day basis, and you can find true happiness. Like they say that habits are formed when you practice for 21 days. So
true,
I consistently practiced for 21 days, and what I noticed is that I could truly achieve happiness. I could truly cut down on all the blame game. I could truly cut down on all the comparison game. I could truly cut down on all the worries. I could see the positives in life and not the negatives. I could only think of finding solutions and not finding problems. I could think of being an optimist and not a pessimist. And all these things, when I started doing, I could really find a shift in my identity, from where I
wow,
was to where
mm,
I became, to who I became. And that is when I thought that I should, uh, spread this word across and I should also start coaching people. Writing a book was
true,
always my dream, but
mm,
coaching was something that I had not thought of. But when I found transformation in myself, I really thought that it should reach to other people also who are really in despair and in sorrow. And my book is all about that. And I'm sure that all of you all who are going to read the book are really going to benefit from it. And it's all the resources that are within you, ladies and gentlemen. It's all there within us. It's about unleashing it and about choosing to be happy right now, today. This is the moment that I would say that you can be happy.
very similar to what a video that I just made recently. So I
Okay.
made a skit and I brought out the same message that you shared. That
Okay.
like you can probably check it out where
Yeah.
I'm wearing a hat and I'm going around searching for my hat, and then I
Okay.
realized looking into the mirror that my hat is with me. So I brought out the message that a lot of people are searching the whole world for something that is already
Exactly.
with them.
With
So
them. Exactly.
that's such an important thing. Okay,
Yeah.
and going into the topics in your book, there's something that really caught my attention. One of the topics you spoke about was, dealing with, face your fears. So
Yeah.
I was really, amazed by that because, see, if you want me to be happy, the first thing I would do is I would stop thinking about or talking about the things that disturb me. Or fear is anything that causes me to fear or causes me to worry or be anxious. I don't want to talk about that when I need to be happy. So this is something that really caught my attention. So I wanted to ask you, what is your thought on that or your take on that, and elaborate what do you mean face your fears and still be happy? That's one of your hacks in your book.
So the reason why I say face your fears is that because fear keeps you in a bondage, John. Fear is a prisoner, It will never let you be free. And unless and until you're not free, you will be angry from within, you will be stressed out, you will be anxious, you will be depressed. Only if you get out of that nutshell will you find true meaning in your life. So when you face your fears and overcome them, you feel accomplished. Like the day I began to write my book, I was really fearful about it. Or the
Mm.
day I went ahead and I did a seminar with 200 people, I was really fearful about it. But the day I challenged myself and I overcame the fear, the accomplishment that I had after that made me truly happy. So I'm
Oh,
relating fear to the accomplishment, to the glory that you get after facing it, overcoming it. That is true happiness. You have to challenge your fears. You have this fear center called amygdala in your brain. Okay. And
okay.
once the amygdala gets habituated to the fears, once it gets, what can I say? Once it gets, when you put that into, when you face your fears on a day to day basis and habituate it, you definitely overcome it. And once you overcome it, it's like an accomplishment for you. And happiness is related to accomplishment, happiness is related to achievement. So once you challenge your fears and achieve something, it definitely brings true happiness. So that is why I
That's
say face your fears and overcome it. And that is where you can find true happiness. Because once you're fearful, you're in that nutshell and you're really in a bondage, you don't want to fly, you don't want to be vulnerable, you don't want to be uh, what do I say? You don't want to get out of that comfort zone. So once you get out of that comfort zone, you will find true happiness.
awesome. Awesome. So, one more
Yeah.
thing that caught my attention was about the aspect you addressed on forgiveness. Because
Yeah.
I believe it's so important that you and I need to be able to forgive people. Because recently I made a video on the same, which is going to come out in the studio in a couple of days. Because I realized the importance of forgiveness. Because if you are holding on to unforgiveness, it's basically like, you're drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. That's
Exactly.
never going to happen. So
Exactly.
you can be happy and be set free only when, like, very similar to what you addressed in terms of fear. And so the
Yeah.
topics that you have chosen are really amazing, and I'm sure those who read are going to take a lot away from the book. So
Yeah.
if a person is going to read your book, what are some, I know we already shared this, but maybe in a 2 minute scenario, like if somebody's just taking your book and
Yeah.
glancing or going through, what are some key takeaways that they can see in their life by reading your book?
Okay, so this is my book. It says Khushi Unlimited and Happiness is You. Yes, the reason why I say happiness is you is because you have the resources within, like I said, to be happy, and you can choose to be happy on a daily basis, consistently, if you practice the tools and the exercises that are given in the book. Like you said, John, forgiveness. Forgiveness is such a great aspect of anyone's life. It not only lets you free, I mean other people free, but it also lets you free. You yourself are freeing yourself from the bondage that you had, and you're releasing the grudges. And that is something very important. When you hold on to grudges, you really don't feel good about it, and you really don't feel
True.
good about being called the what do you say being called unhappy. You really feel unhappy about it when someone forgives
Mm,
you, when someone comes and says sorry, or you say sorry to someone. You really release yourself out of that tension, and it's something very important. And in Jainism also, John, there is a day in the year where we ask for forgiveness, seek for forgiveness from each and every soul in this universe, from the tiniest of the being, from an ant to anybody, because Jainism, we believe in non-violence.
okay.
So we ask for forgiveness for all the microorganisms also that are present on this planet to human beings. And we say Michami Dukadam. That means I seek forgiveness from the whole world. And that is such an awesome thing. That day is a very special day in our lives in the Jain community, people who follow Jainism, and it's something that is really incredible. I mean, to grant forgiveness and to seek forgiveness is really important, and that is all there in my book. And another practice about gratitude, I said count your blessings, because we are more privileged. There are people who want to be like you, and there are a lot of people who are so underprivileged, who really don't have the blessings that you have. So I always stress on showing gratitude and counting your blessings. Be happy with what you have, because you never know. Life is so unpredictable. Live in the today, live in the now, live in the present, because you have a healthy body. Rejoice in being alive, rejoice in being, able to help each other, showing compassion, spreading love, spreading happiness, which is all there in this beautiful book. And I'm sure people who read it will really love the book, and it'll be a life changing game for them. Because when I started practicing the happiness habits that are there in this book, it really changed my life. So please go ahead and buy this book. It's available on Notion Press store. And there's a discount going on, a 30% off on the book. So please go ahead and order your copies today.
Wonderful. And one more thing, who
Yeah.
so anybody can read your book, or is it for any particular age group?
Anybody can read my book, but age group would be, I would stress on 18 years to above. Anybody from
Okay,
18 years above, because these practices, I'm sure,
will
children
be
and
more
teenagers
applicable to them.
will not be able to understand. But yeah, 18 years and above, it will definitely help them. Anybody who feels lonely, who is in despair, who's in sorrow, who wants to really seek happiness, even at the lowest points in their life, even at the lowest times in their life, it's definitely going to help them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, guys, I think we heard a lot, and I'm sure you're all excited to check out Kushi's book. And I'm also waiting to receive it. It's going to be on the way. So,
Yeah.
I just encourage each one of you. I think we'll be putting on the link in the
Yeah.
description, or you can check it out on social media as well. So
Mm.
Khushi Unlimited, Happiness is You, is available right now. So I encourage you to go out and check it out and see what are some ways you can. I mean, a lot of people write to me or text me or contact me saying, "Oh, John, I'm so bored, I'm so lonely, I'm this, I'm depressed," and things like that. So maybe I think you can give this a shot, instead of whiling away the time. You can This is a great time for you to say, okay, let me set aside some time and read this book, and get something. And always, one of the things I always say is, try to get better. This is a time you never get again. So use every minute and every opportunity that you can to get better. And you may say, John, there's so many things, but I already know many of these things. But I'm telling you, I always believe in this. There's always room for you to learn even one thing more by reading something.
Yes,
You know, like
definitely.
one of the things people often ask me is, John, you're already a speaker. Why did you, enroll for, the Extraordinary Speakers Academy? Because I was already doing that. I was already speaking to
Yeah.
thousands of people. But my reason was very simple. I may be speaking to thousands, and I'm already speaking for years together. But my thing is, there can be even one thing I learned that can help me and help me get better. That's an attitude I encourage every one of you to have. And thank you so much, Kushi, for joining in. And
Thank you.
I pray and I help. I mean, what did I say? Okay, I want to compliment you on your book again officially, and I also want to wish that your book, excels and exceeds your expectations, and goes to great heights. So, guys, just make the choice. Okay, even in the scripture, it's very clear that rejoice and be glad. It's a command, like we have to be joyful. And even in John 10:10, it says, Jesus came that you might enjoy your life and have it in abundance. So we are called to have an enjoying life, a joyful life, a
Yes.
happy life. But sadly, many people are just sad, sadly
Yes.
sad.
Yeah.
So I pray that every one of you who are listening and watching from across the globe, I pray that you will use these tools that will help you to really enjoy your life and have an abundant and overflowing life. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you. Until next time, do like, comment, share, subscribe, and if you're not done so, would love to hear from you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.